Today I'll be walking you through the process of making modifications to the allocation config and how the improvements which we have brought in using the clear all filters, clear all selection, as well as the refresh uh, capability which we brought for the allocation config. So what you notice here is we are applying the oil gas water well test allocation config, which is configured for all the three products and multiple dispositions. If you see here, there are already these oil production, oil sales, then we do have gas sales, use on lease, buyback, and all the other dispositions already configured. So what we do here is essentially when I go and apply the allocation config, what it automatically does is it refetches all the potential volume sources in this network, and it uses the already existing selected volume sources and pre-selects them. So one of the things which I'm going to do here is what happens if you delete one of the tank as an oil volume source. So what normally would happen here is if I go and try to save the allocation config, then it would show me an error, say that the configured volume source is missing. That's because I've deleted an oil tank but not deselected it from the allocation config. So the easiest way to do that is to go and apply the config again. What it automatically does is it realizes that the one of the volume source which was selected earlier no longer exists on the network, so it automatically removes that from the potential list of volume source, as well as deselects it when the user is saving the allocation config. So I can do this, I can overwrite the existing version and publish. The second capability which which can also be realized here is when the user decides to add multiple tanks or more volume sources to the network. And in that case, all they need to do is they need to just go and reapply the allocation config. And what that does is it populates the new volume sources which are added in the list of potential volume sources, but doesn't select any one of them. So in here I would select these three as production volume sources as well as sales volume sources for oil, but the same would not be selected in the case of water disposal. Similarly, the same would not be selected in the case of water production. So once I do this, I can just go ahead and save it. None of my other disposition volume sources were either overwritten or unselected. So that makes it easy for me to add any new volume source or remove it. Similarly, if the user had decided to change the allocation config, in this case I move away from the oil gas well test config and just switch to an oil config. So in that case, what happens is the volume sources which was earlier selected and saved automatically are pre-selected when a new allocation config is assigned. And this only happens if this object type is a valid production disposition volume source in the new allocation config which is selected. So I can just go ahead, save this. So these are the improvements which we brought in while making changes to the allocation config and the assignment of allocation config to a network. We have tried to reduce the number of clicks the user has to take. Thank you.